or cadre leader for this section of the um, of the workshop here. And thank you all for coming. For those of you that don't know me, I am in the process of becoming the chairperson for the National Prevention Education Teams subcommittee under CEPIC. So CEPIC stands for Communication Education Prevention. And that's the subgroup under the National Wildfire Coordination Group. I believe I was a little more background, I guess you could say. I'm a fire prevention technician on the Shasta Trinity National Forest here in Northern California. I got into fire prevention education teams uh, around 2013 with the One Less Spark, One Less Wildfire campaign being the biggest contribution that has gone places, I think, because of some of the efforts that myself and a lot of folks took here in California and seem to spread across the country. So if you've been a part of that or used that, I thank you for that. I've been a lead instructor for P101, P301, P310, and a unit instructor for P410. I've helped to also update my first course update, I guess you could say, from through NWCG for P310. Myself and Zach Ellinger from the BLM, Gwen Bevins, Soledad Holgan from the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and Jennifer Diamond from the Bureau of Land Management all worked long and hard to get P310 updated. And if you haven't taken that course, I hope you do. Um, so that's a quick introduction of basically who I am and why I'm here to help facilitate this discussion. And I want to be specific about that. I really do want to have this more of a facilitated discussion. And there's going to be a section in here uh, during the presentation where I ask for your input. So maybe multiple times, and hopefully we can access the chat right now, and or just if you can give me a reaction of a thumbs up if you've participated in all four of the fire prevention courses and offered by NWCG. Okay, I'm seeing only 310.
Hey, Mark, it's Andy.
Uh-huh.
Hey, buddy, I'm going to be on here. I'll be monitoring your chat and stuff for you. So
Okay, thanks,
I'll help
Andy.
you out through that.
Okay. So has anybody taken one NWCG course? Let's start there. I see we got a only 110. So Caroline, you're good. Tracy got a hand raised. Perfect. Okay, so we've had a little bit, and those who've taken one or more than one, two. Are we up to two? Got a 410, 310, and 101. Okay. Okay, great. So I see that we've had some folks that have taken more than one or one prevention course, so that just kind of helps me gear where this conversation is going to go. So P101 is Prevention Education 1, also known as Prevention Education 1. And as I stated before, there's really only four, count them, four whole NWCG courses. So hopefully through your careers or um, through your process of elimination here, we can get you into some of those prevention courses, and hopefully I'll be blessed enough to be a part of your cadre. But great cadres across the country. Myself, I have typically been out of California and or the Pacific Northwest, and P101 again is Prevention Education 1. There's P310, a little bit of a jump there, and we'll get back to that. But I'm sorry, 301, which is Prevention Education 2. That's Prevention Education 2 is more of a planning level course, maybe for larger areas or for national forests, maybe your district level fire prevention planning, but and or national wildland fire prevention planning. The concepts and applications that are provided in 301 can really enlighten folks as to how we get to these community wildfire protection plans, those CWPPs, and how we might be able to allocate funding for specific objectives to reduce the number of human-caused fires. That's really what P301 is about, teaching those concepts. P310 is one of the two prevention education team member classes and or team classes. So P310 is prevention education team member. And that one, again, was recently updated by myself and Zach and a whole host of other great cadre and instructors from across the country. And P410, I was lucky enough just this last year to be a unit instructor um, in the Pacific Northwest for NWCG number 5 for the Prevention Education Team Leader course. So good on you for having done those courses if you have, and we ask that you definitely be a part of uh, the delivery of prevention education teams from now and into the future. Um, there's other courses that are not NWCG prevention courses that I believe are help to build your resume, so to speak, in prevention. FI 110, if you're into fire investigations or if you have any um, interest or knowledge and or duties associated with identifying the cause of the human caused fires. FI 110 is a great course. FI 210 is the Wildland Fire Investigator course that is under the enforcement side of the CEPIC committee. So communication, education, prevention, right? So those two courses, and then has anybody ever heard of the X courses? Anybody in the group ever heard of X courses that are NWCG workbook related courses? No, no, no. Okay. So there are two of these. And some of you who may have taken the historic P101 may have been exposed to these courses already, but X900 is Powerline Investigations, and X902 is Railroad Fire Investigation. So those are great courses to familiarize yourself with some of the specifics as to what's really going on with railroads and prevent power lines, excuse me, and how we can minimize those number of fires along that infrastructure. Um, outside of NWCG, there's a whole host of courses. Of course, many folks have been to Juvenile Fire Setter. Many folks have probably been to um, any any number of uh, FEMA and or state-run courses that deal specifically with fire prevention and or public outreach and education. I can think of, you know, NWCG wise, I guess S203 would be a close match for public outreach in that public information officer realm. But again, the four courses that are NWCG that have prevention related to them are P101, P301, P310, and P410. The Within the last 2 years, there's been two of these four that have been updated. Can anybody tell me what those are?
310.
310 has been updated. Yes. And there's one more.
I'd say 410. Or it's in the
So,
works.
no, we're hopeful. And we'll get to that. But P101. It has Fred Turk, which you probably just saw his course or his presentation earlier. He and Anna Henderson, Rex Thompson, and Francisco Saldivar, excuse me, from the Southwest just delivered the first P101, which has been digitized and uploaded to the Wildland Fire Learning Portal. There's a new one, right? There's been a lot of change that it's come over the last few years, with the COVID and the implementation of technology and our ever growing environment of the Paperless Act of, what was that? I think it was like 2004 or something. I think the federal government's finally catching up with that Paperless Act. We've got the Wildfire Learning Portal. So again, a raise of hands. Uh, is anybody registered or heard of or been in the Wildfire Learning Portal? Give me a thumbs up or a clap or a. Okay, we're starting to get a little movement now. All right, excellent. It's good to hear. So P101 has in fact recently been uploaded to the Wildfire Learning Portal, and I just wanted to take a second for maybe those of you who haven't. Gerald, you just took the P101. Would you mind telling us how that experience went for you with it being virtual? I was going to show them on the learning portal, but maybe you having had probably one of the first experiences here of doing the
Yeah,
P101 virtual. If
yeah,
you
I
wouldn't
was in
mind
that
speaking to
first
it.
classroom. Yeah, I was in the first, and it was good. A lot of information. I did end up downloading a lot myself, so I could kind of keep up the way it was set up. You had to do, I don't remember the exact days of the week, but let's say you had to do Tuesday's work in order basically to participate into Wednesdays. So there was a little bit of, I dubbed it homework just because of time restraints during the work day. Some of them took a little bit longer to complete, so I would make sure I was up to speed for the next day. But speed wise, I thought I was a little fast. For me, I'm more of a hands-on, get my hands dirty type of guy versus sit here and stare at a computer screen. So it was a little bit of a challenge that way for me. But it flowed good. They presented it really well. I thought overall. So yeah, I was glad I took it.
And was that Fred's course, or was there another one that I missed somewhere?
Give me a second. I'll turn around and grab the course roster, and I can tell you who
Uh,
the instructor was. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Oh, that's okay. But yeah, hopefully this is being taught more than I even know about. But yeah, so it's all in the learning portal, and as Gerald kind of alluded to, it's a systematic approach to teaching. Some of it is self-paced. Some of it can be um, it can be instructor led. It could be a mix of those two things. So the learning portal has really um, taken over, I guess you could say, the next generation of wildland fire instruction and prevention instruction as well. And so I just wanted to share my screen with you guys real quick and give you a brief overview of what the learning portal kind of looks like and maybe some of the things that we might be able to do in here now and into the future. So as you can see, I've already logged in. It's really easy to log in, and most you don't need to have any agency specific login information. Just because I'm a part of the Forest Service doesn't mean that I'm the only one that can get an account here. Kind of like the FireNet. If folks are familiar with FireNet, there's only so many of those accounts available. I believe the Wildland Fire Learning Portal is unlimited. So please do go in here and get yourself registered under this under the portal in order to take training, apply for training, and take training for now and into the future. As you can see here, I have some of my teachings and some of the classes that I've been a part of or tried to applied for, taken. So now we have a history, so to speak, of our training and our training experiences. And I'll just go ahead and open up. I believe this one is still good. The P310 from the Pacific Northwest that myself and Zach Ellinger were a part of. Zach being the lead instructor and myself being a unit instructor on this one. So within here, it has unlimited kind of options as to what we as instructors and you as students can experience. We can upload anything from PowerPoints to videos to quizzes to interactive exercises. The learning portal is definitely the way that things are going to go and go into the future. This pre-course questionnaire, we wanted to get an idea of who our students were and how they might how we might tailor the course to fit into their learning experience. And as you can see, hopefully, well, this is some we got an idea of some of the specific kind of causes, if folks were PIOs, their breadth of experience and their knowledge about those courses and what they might be able to get out of that. So everything is going to be on the learning portal, the agenda, the cadre bios, um, every single unit you can download from the portal and follow along with. Really, the options are limitless. So I just wanted you to get an idea of the importance of the learning portal and how that is going to be shaping and or taking charge really of our future in teaching and taking. So we have had some recent inquiries as to why aren't the courses being offered in my area, and the prevention education team subcommittee has made it a requirement for people to have gone through P310 and P410 in order to be qualified as a team member or team leader. And I believe that's where the conversation was sparked because there's only so many offerings for the courses and we need it in order to become qualified. Makes total sense. We anticipated that. But there's a process for course prioritization in geographic areas. In California and the Pacific Northwest, I'm from California, which is the Pacific Southwest region, and my friend, my buddy Zach, is up there in the Pacific Northwest, and those two geographic area training officers have gotten together and decided that the load or the need for course delivery was every other year in the two geographic areas. So last year we were in the Pacific Northwest. This next year will be this year in 2023 we'll be offering courses that are needed and identified as needed at the geographic training officers level to be delivered in California. So Typically how it works is right about now, sometime around this time of the year, I get a call from our geographic coordinator, and they ask if I am ready to teach this course. Could be any course, any one of those P 300 typically level courses, 300 or 400 level courses. Oftentimes 100 level courses are taught on a local scale. Now you can almost take it in the portal. So so that'll be really real nice when that's completely finalized and available at a self-taught pace. But yes, so the courses are kind of prioritized, and then the cadres are developed, and the presentations of the courses are put on. During COVID, we did see an increase in the use of virtual environment learning. I myself and Zach were one of the few that offered P301 during or any prevention course during the COVID years that I'm aware of. And there were challenges with that. As we all know, um, some folks are still struggling to learn the differences between Zoom and Teams, and so on and so forth. So um, the virtual environment, from my perspective, is a useful tool. It gets more people incorporated and involved that might not be able to travel, maybe can't make it, can't fly, so on and so forth. Every agency has its limitations. Every person has their own limitations. So I do believe that the virtual environment is good. But I also truly do feel, after having taught virtually a number of times, that in person is my preferred method due to that interaction and the collaboration, the idea sharing that you get at any one of these courses while you're in person. And with that being said, the P310 courses that we've updated and now are delivering across the country are meant, and again, the P310 is a prevention education team member. That course is meant to put you into a team environment and have you have a team experience before you leave the room after 4 complete days of training. So as you can see on the learning portal here, I'll share my screen again. We issue you a delegation of authority on day 1, and it's through that learning portal. And this delegation of authority for Land Between the Lakes was a prevention education team that I was a part of for the Eclipse. And we used 2 delegations of authority for the Eclipse. As you can see here, the Oregon solar eclipse, DOA, and the Land Between the Lakes were both solar eclipse related because, drum roll, you heard it from Maureen, there's going to be another solar eclipse coming up here in 2024, and we anticipate the use of prevention education teams for that. So we want to get people exposed to that experience before they're shipped out to help out around the kind of central Midwest, I guess you could call it, portion of the United States there. So 310, in my opinion, is a hands-on activity-based learning. Of course, there are PowerPoints, but it's been proven that adults learn by doing, and 310 is definitely that way now. P101 excellent update. Got rid of a lot of repetition, but it's a great introduction to fire prevention. If you're new to fire prevention, you want to gain some experience, you'll learn everything from giving a public presentation to how to staple signs to um, the list goes on and on and on and on. Really, the P101 is uh, such a great course, and I really encourage anyone, if no one's taken a prevention course yet, please do get yourself involved in P101. Any questions up to this point about the courses themselves and what's available and how to get into them? Anything? There are some that are becoming available, as I see in the chat here. Looks like 310 was put on in January. Texas is going to be hosting a P310 in 2 weeks. So if you're interested in getting into prevention education teams, that is a great course for you to get into. Okay. Hearing no questions right now, we'll keep it up with so how does a course become an NWCG course, and how does that process look? As with any organization, I think that you're going to find some challenges with capacity, right? NWCG is in that boat. I don't want to speak badly about NWCG. Everything that they do is fantastic. But they're under the gun right now to get a lot of these courses updated and included into the Wildfire Learning Portal. So a lot of what that entails is people with specialities and specifics. And I'll use this as an example. Um, Production and 508 compliance, editing. Those are a few of the examples that I can think of off the top of my head. NWCG has a limited number of those positions filled and or available to help support the long list of courses that NWCG oversees. We were lucky to get the P310 updated, and it was mostly due to agency contributions at zero cost to the National Wildfire Coordination Group and subject matter experts that were authorized and given the ability to go through the instructor guides and the PowerPoints to and collect the pictures and change the wording on the slides to be able to ease the workload of NWCG's active participation in that process, and then to finalize the production of those courses. So I think as we move along, I've been a part of a task force under the Communication Education Prevention Committee that was asked to prioritize our courses that we have. So you're thinking investigate law enforcement, public information officers, and prevention related courses. Myself and Zach Ellinger identified P101 as being newly updated, P310 as being newly updated, and our next priority was for P301. For those who have taken P301, I think I saw somebody in the chat. Oh, Jared. Jared, you've taken P301, and Gwen, you've taken P301. Is there any references that you can think of or anything that's interesting about P301 that could be potentially updated. Thinking about one thing in particular. Okay, raise of hands. Does anyone know what an overhead projector is?
I mean, right, middle school. Well, for me, it was middle school. There's also, I mean, personal preference. There's also the fact that the 203 class doesn't even mention the internet. You know, just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so 203 doesn't mention the internet, and 301 is using overhead projectors to prioritize the risks, hazards, and values, right? Whether it's high, moderate, or low in priority for the community of Redbud. And that's helping to develop your fire prevention plan, right? So, Tracy, you're totally right. So we're competing with and it just within the SEPIC organization, the prevention world, where we're using facsimile machines, which somewhat still have their relevance, and have 301 has a picture of it. It looks like Kirk Douglas with a cell phone that's like this big, I think. Um, so we're competing with overhead projectors. We're competing with you know, a course that's in need again of an update that doesn't even mention the internet as a public information officer. And I am a lead PIO on a California incident management team, so I understand the importance of the internet and public information. So um, so yeah, that gives you a little bit of an idea of where just the SEPIC committee is with prioritization, and then take you know, that and apply it to smoke management and you know, division level courses and agency administrator uh, responsibilities and courses. The list goes on and on and on. So, where does prevention lie? I think the future of developed training lies with the subject matter experts that are willing and able and have the time and passion to get one of these courses updated and through. P301 was the one that was identified by us as the most in need to be updated. And P410 is a close second there. But that kind of brings me to my next and almost last conversation, which I hope generates some conversation here. And or input from the group. Once 310 and 410 are good or updated, hopefully we have some folks amongst us now. I've heard tons of talent and probably years and years of experience that could help us bring these new course updates across the finish line. But we go from our current organization is 101 to 301. And so having taken every single P course in the four of them that are available, and having been a part of some workshops, I specifically see some needs in the organization, and I really feel like a 200 level course is warranted, needed, and would be a major step in the right direction. We typically go from this is how you give a school program to this is how you write a forest level prevention plan. And I feel like there's a couple of steps in there that we're probably missing. And we have suggested and hope to develop a 200 level course in the future. So my question to you, and maybe to some of the folks that have taken some of these courses, is, what do you think a 200 level course could have in it? And the slate is totally open right now. Carrie?
Sorry, I had to make sure I was on the right screen. I think a lot of just basic interaction as a team member, defining roles early on. I think that's appropriate, whether you're looking at a local, state, regional, or national team. I mean, and it's never going to be perfect. We're always going to have personality issues and personal issues that get in the way. But on the social side of team management, defining those working roles, and I mean, of course, as you just said, going from doing Smoky Bear things all the way to creating forest action plans, there has to be something in the middle there of creating an official document, because I think those early classes hit a lot more on the soft skills, the public interactions, the setting up a booth, the doing the presentations, and then it throws you right into the world of official document creating. And that's certainly not something that, especially those of us on more of a field side that aren't on a department, like directing side, don't have any experience with. And especially if you're not a federal employee, right, coming in and trying to go on a national team and they're talking a completely different language about, all their internal processes.
Okay, so your comments were directed at prevention education teams directly, Carrie?
Well, and it doesn't even have to be like an official, it doesn't have to be that 310 or 410 level class, but you are still, even if it's just the 101 or 301, you are still most likely going to be working with another group of people at some point, was the first part of the comment about working and defining those roles and figuring out who's good at what. And I guess that was my first thought. So
Great. No, it's good stuff. It's kind of like defining roles, or maybe defining the team, like the composition of a team and what's needed within that team, and maybe kind of looking at collaborators and who can bring what to the
especially if,
table, kind of thing.
yeah, if you're not looking at a team level class, if it is, and I think I missed that when you asked the question, if you're just looking at the 101 and 301, it is the working with collaborators, especially, right? That there was a gentleman just yesterday who works for a local fire department who said, hey, I want to sign up for that 310 class. Is that really going to be any value of me? I'm not going to go out on a state level or national level team ever. But he still does need to create a group of collaborators in his local area that he can get assistance from. And what does that look like on a local level? That's a nice way of looking at it.
That's great.
I'm not sure I helped at all, but there you go.
Oh no, yeah, it's perfect. It's exactly what I'm looking for. Any idea is a great idea at this point. And that was an excellent idea, Carrie. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to finally know who Carrie is now too. I've heard the name more than once, so I can see you and hear
Yes,
you, and this is great. So
Believe everything you've heard about her, Mark.
okay, great.
I think I know exactly like one or two other people in this group chat. So hello everyone. Now you have met Carrie. Congratulations.
There we go.
That's great. Mark, we had a question in the chat. How do we find the X courses?
Okay, so the X courses are in the process of being uploaded to the Wildfire Learning Portal as well. So those have recently been updated by the law enforcement branch under that CEPIC, Communication Education Prevention Committee. And those are due to be uploaded to the Wildfire Learning Portal, and I believe they're going to be self-paced courses. So again, get into the learning portal, take a look, and if they're not there yet, they soon will be. The learning portal is the way to go. So.
Right. Sounds good. Caroline made a comment on, it's not a P course, but highly recommend the M410, the facilitative instructor course, which is, that helps a lot. It plays a lot into what we do on prevention side of things too, so.
Yeah, being a public speaker, man.
Any hands raised, Jim, but don't forget we're on Central.
All right,
Time, so-
do we have any other questions for Mark or anybody
3:36.
else like to add on to what Carrie added?
I'm gonna share my information.
You need a couple more minutes to wrap up, that'd be good, and then I'll meet back in the main room too.
Okay, there's another question for you. Are the X courses, IQCS recognized?
Yeah, so X are basically self-paced, self-taught, and they're more like workbooks. It's kind of like a staging area manager. It's something that can be awarded and or just kind of self-taught. So yeah, X courses are an NWCG thing,
Right.
and I believe they should be in IQCS.
Okay,
If please do send an email to me. Yeah, like the old job aids. Yep, that's exactly it, Dave. Dale, thank you. Um, my email is in the chat for us. Please jot that down. I think this chat might go away. I'll put it in the main chat as well when we go back. But if you have any ideas or thoughts, I think that maybe a 200 level course should focus on this. We'd love to hear that. We'd love to be active in developing that, maybe with you in the near future. And I thank you all for taking an interest in prevention courses. And I hope to see you on my next prevention education team assignment and or just anywhere along the lines.
all right, thanks a lot, Mark.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna run everybody back to the main room.